Hey yo, what up? What up? It's Lemek with Selah Sports TV back at it again. Chill. So, I want to discuss this Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark situation, and as a result, it has a lot of or a few other auxiliary situations that seem to keep popping up every time somebody makes a comment about, or someone in the mainstream news makes a comment about any of these players. Number one, just the atmosphere of today. Like, you cannot give an opinion. You can't give an honest opinion. And if you're a part of the mainstream media, that's just not what they do anymore. Everything is be agreeable. Everything you have to like everybody. Unless it's somebody they say that you can't like, then you have to not like them, not like that person. But that's pretty much what we're doing, what we're witnessing as far as mainstream media is concerned. Not a lot of honesty, not a lot of integrity, right? Just not a lot of that stuff going on. Now, as for this Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark situation, I look at it in different ways, right? I look at it in different ways, and I try to do that with most things. Um, I don't see this as a completely negative situation. These players have some rivalry going, right? If we were talking about male sports, it would be nothing negative about this. But we're talking about women's sports, so I think it's taken some getting used to for the public to just accept that women can compete just as hard as men do in their sports. Now, don't get me twisted. Don't get me wrong, because I'm not one of these people to say women can do whatever men can do. No, that's not what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. Women can compete with each other just as hard as men compete with each other. That they can do. Is it going to look the same? No. Is it going to be the same? No. But um, women can be fiery just like men, or worse, right? Um, I don't see their rivalry, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, as an issue. I don't. I just don't. Um, Now, to the contrary, I see their rivalry as possibly a good thing, possibly something that should be nurtured and in a healthy way, fed to the public in a healthy way, right? I don't think any of these players should start getting hate mail or anything like that. But if they can get like a bird and magic type of dynamic, why would you not do that? Of course, there's going to be racial play. Of course, Middle America is going to love Caitlin Clark, and Black America is going to love Angel Reese, right? And of course, you'll have everything in between, right? You'll have people on both sides of the issue. You'll have intelligent people who don't feed into the racial connotations. You have people that don't feed into the racial connotations and prefer either person, right? There's people, we got to stay out of this monolithic thinking that everybody, black people think this and white people think that. No, you don't know what the fuck black people or white people think, because it ain't just no one person. Like, everybody, you got to speak to people individually. Even talking to groups of people, you won't get a true sense of the pulse of that group. You know why? Because people lie in public. You have to talk to people individually, and even then, they still might not give you the real. You just don't know. Now, back to the topic at hand. With Angel Reese, solid basketball player. I think she's a solid basketball player. I don't think I put it like this. I think the amount of press she gets is extremely beneficial for her, especially for her skill set, right? It's not that I think she's trash. It's not that I think she's a bad player. I think she's a good player, right? I'm not sure if she's a great player, but she's definitely a good player, solid basketball player, right? Um, but she's not in that Caitlin Clark conversation. Like, let's not get that twisted. Let's not get it twisted. She's not in the Caitlin Clark conversation, but that's not what this video is about. This video is about And this can be applied to anyone, but I'm using Angel Reese because she's in the news right now. But this is about accepting that villain energy, right? When it's beneficial to you, when it's conducive to you, right? When it suits your purpose, you accept that villain role. But when shit hits the fan, either you're unsuccessful or the heat starts getting too hot, right? The criticism starts coming in too much. Now we're crying about being the villain. But you can't have it both ways. And this ain't gonna be a long video because frankly, the message don't take that long to convey. You're either gonna get it or you're not. And you're either gonna get it, and some people they still get it, refuse to kind of adapt to the thinking because a lot of things are uncomfortable for people. A lot of things that we do are uncomfortable for us to deal with, right? Myself included. It's shit that I would I really work on, and try to stop. But sometimes some things are just harder. I accept that. Don't mean I give up. It's just harder to do. Some things are harder to drop than others, right? Some of our ways and actions are harder to drop than others. Doesn't make us bad people. It just makes it what it is. Now, you can't do all the taunting and have all the wild words, the talking shit, and you can't do all that. And then when you lose, say, "Oh no, I was victimized." That don't work. It don't work. And don't get me wrong, I'm not painting Angel Reese as the devil and painting King. A lot of people have done that, especially in this YouTube shit. A lot of people have vilified one and made the other out to be a hero, and I ain't doing that. That's what I'm not doing. I'm not making either one of them a hero. You know why? Because ain't neither one of them heroes, but ain't neither one of them villains either. Caitlin Clark does a lot of trolly shit. Caitlin, and I ain't got a problem with that. That's the thing. It's part of fucking sports. But because they're women, we're not used to seeing that. And don't get me wrong. Like I love traditional women, right? Like if I was to choose somebody who I'm probably gonna want to be with, it's probably not gonna be a professional athlete, right? Usually, I'm not trying to paint too broadly, but usually that's not my type, right? But I still respect it. It don't mean I can respect. That's what I'm doing here. These women can go at each other, which I don't think that's what's happening. They're not even going at it. It's everything around the rivalry because of what happened. Last year? What happened last year? Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark matched up, and Caitlin Clark decided to do the little ring taunt where she's pointing to her finger in the ring and everything. And when Angel Reese defeated her in the national championship, she returned the favor and did the same taunt, and it blew up, right? I'm not here to say, oh, well, they did the same thing, and so they should be. I don't give a fuck about, people saying, well, one did it, so the other should be allowed to do it. Sure, in a perfect world. In a perfect world, a lot of shit can happen. But in the real world, like in this dimension that we live in, like this one, in this timeline that we live in, what holds true as far as in all my years of experience is just because you can do it, just because you have the right to do it, don't mean you should. Right? Was that particular taunt, if she's crying about being a villain, right, and crying about this and crying about that, is that particular taunt, was that taunt worth the trouble? Like, we got to be honest about that. Was that worth the trouble? Yes, you had a right to do it. She did it to you. You won. You did it back. But us as black people, like, well, I'm painting this as with a broad stroke again, because I know it's way more than just black people to watch these videos. But specifically, I'm gonna just talk to other black people, quote unquote black people, right? Got a tendency to get emotional about things that you don't like to hear. Like, it's like we kill the messenger a lot. And a lot of people don't like being a messenger. They don't want to tell you the bad news because of that. Whereas other cultures, they don't have that dynamic. Other cultures appreciate the message, even if it's something they didn't want to hear. It's like, wow, thank you for warning us. They can look for the wisdom of the words instead of just letting their emotions deal with everything. Sometimes you can have a right to do something, but it still ain't the right thing to do. Yeah, rewind that. So, flipping back to this situation, if you want to be the villain, you got to accept everything that comes along with it. And I ain't even saying that's a bad thing. As above, so below. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. And by villain, I'm not talking about a real villain in real life. Robbing, cheating, stealing, killing people in real life. I'm talking about this bullshit that we looking at in sports. The way we glorify sports with heroism and villains and all this other stupid shit. I'm talking about in that realm. If you want to be that, you got to do it. Same thing happened with PQ, former Baltimore Ravens inside linebacker. PQ was my guy, right? PQ was that dude, especially this past season. Had a great season. This offseason, Ravens chose to sign Justin Madubuike. They didn't have the money for PQ. So Patrick Queen goes to, of course, he goes to our fucking most hardest fucking staunchest rival, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and signs with them, right? No problem. No fucking problem. PQ, right? But then what does he do? He goes over there. Yeah, I want to be that villain. I want them to hate me. I want them to talk about Ravens fans. So then they start getting at him. Ravens fans start getting at him, and then PQ's like, all right, now y'all need to shut up. At this point, y'all need to shut up and let it go. And yada. Wait. Hold on, big guy. You just said you want to be the villain. You wanted to play that role. See, motherfuckers got to shut the fuck up. People got to shut the fuck up. And this comment here is directed toward black people too. Stop claiming and wanting to be the villain. Stop claiming savagery. You're not. Most of you, 98% of you ain't villains. 98% of you ain't savages. Not at your core. Not at your core. 98% of you are not criminals. 98% of you are not thugs. 98%, like, you've been tricked into all that shit. Spiritually, that ain't you. Why you think most people, let's take the thugs, quote unquote thugs. These thugs, when they do shit together and do crimes together and get locked up, why is the snitch rate so high? Right? You know why? Because they're not built for that. They're not built for that. You see them as being tough. You see them as being like this, but spiritually, the Most High like sees them as softies. That's why they keep telling them. Other people don't do that. Other people, hey, La Familia, and they don't say nothing. And they got a whole system in. Once they get locked up, they got a whole world in there that they could go to, like hardened criminals. You motherfucker, as soon as you get locked up, somebody's talking. I'm not saying that as a bad thing. You're not, most of you are not good criminals. You're not built for that. You're not. So stop trying to be the fucking villain all the time. Right? It don't make you a big person. In a world like this, being the good guy is harder, right? We're in a counterculture now. So if you want to go against the counterculture, be good and see how much hate you get if that's your thing. But this wanting to be the villain shit, people like you asking for it, and then when you get that energy, now you bitching about it. You can't do that. You can't. But anyway, that's all I got for this video. If you like the video, bang off on that like button one time. Peace.